Hello VEDS, I don't have a lot of time today, so I'm not going to be doing a challenge video or an imitation video. Instead, I'm going to be reviewing it, but I'm going to try to do that as quickly as possible. I'm actually going to time myself to see how much of that I can get out. But I do want to point you in a couple of places where you can see me, or more appropriately, hear me. My friend put up a Game of Thrones Season 7 spoiler cast where we break down the season, and he explains why he likes it, and I explain why I don't exactly like it. So I will link that in the description. Also, the newest episode of my podcast, the Bruin, the Saluki, and Joe, is also up, so I will link to that. You can listen to it on SoundCloud or iTunes or Stitcher or wherever you do. I'm just going to link to SoundCloud, so it's simple. But those are a lot of fun to do, so I definitely encourage you to listen to those, and maybe I'll link this one too. If you maybe listen to episode 4 first, our episode on live music. It's a little, I think it's our best one. And the show is might be a little hard to get into, because it is just us three having a conversation. So that might not be immediately interesting. I have 3 minutes set on my timer. Let's talk about it. So it is an adaptation of course, the Stephen King book, and I'm just going to lay it on the line. I don't like the book. I don't like the miniseries from the 90s. I don't like this version. I think that it is a story that has an internal conflict, not of characters or of themes, but of what it wants to be. Does it want to be a coming-of-age story, or does it want to build an extreme mythos? And this movie starts off by doing something that's kind of along the right lines. It focuses solely on the coming-of-age stuff, and I will say most of the kids are great. There are a couple of the characters who are shafted and shouldn't be there, or should be there but actually matter. In fact, it gets a little bit insulting with one character who is basically reduced to a token black character, but for the most part they're well acted and they're well written, and overall their storyline is probably the best thing about this movie. However, this movie also wants to be a horror movie. And I'm not going to complain about not being scary, because I don't get scared by horror movies. But it doesn't operate well in the world, because once you start getting into the mythos of Pennywise, it doesn't make sense, and they don't explore it much, which is fine, but the problem is that there's an internal logic there that doesn't really make sense, and that's because of how complicated the mythos is. They are still taking the mythos from the books. They aren't creating their own thing, and because of that, they aren't able to fully embrace the coming-of-age story without having some faults within the actual scares themselves. Also, I think that the guy who's playing the clown is playing a scary clown. Scary clowns aren't scary. Clowns are scary. We aren't scared if we're supposed to be, right? We're expecting him to be scary, or him to do weird things, or him to pop out and be like, gotcha. But if it's a normal clown, then we might know that he's gonna be scary, and for many of us we know who Pennywise is, so we know that he will be a threat, but it's still disconcerting because we're supposed to see clowns as entertainment and an age of innocence, right? The clowns are scary no matter what, but scary clowns aren't scary. Finally, I have 40 seconds left, so the thing I really want to get out there is some creative scares here, but I feel like the aesthetic of the horror elements is really a problem and takes away from a lot of those creative moments. Still, there is some good here, and people are having fun with it. I've seen people say it's a horror classic. I don't think it will be, but you know what? If you like horror movies and you're interested in kind of a Stand By Me kind of horror thing, I definitely suggest you check it out, because other people seem to be enjoying it. I'm just not one of those people. In fact, I really wasn't happy watching it. 5, I got done before it went off, so, you know, good for me. Guys, I hope you enjoyed it. Not the movie. I hope you enjoy it, because you're probably going to pay like $10 to see it. But I hope you enjoyed this review, and if you have seen it, please tell me what you think of it down below. Also, tell me what you think about these like very quick timed reviews. VEDS, I will see you tomorrow.